One theory of social influence states that people that are close to each other tend to converge in their attitudes, beliefs, and behavior. If we think this through, wouldn't this mean that we would all eventually become exactly the same? This is indeed a good question. Reality, of course, paints a very different picture. Even though local convergence occurs, there is global polarization as well. Robert Axelrod came up with a surprisingly simple and yet surprisingly powerful agent-based model to explain this phenomenon. In the model, agents are associated with a vector of digits that represents their culture, by which Axelrod denotes the set of all traits that are transmissible to other people and shaped by social influence, so not hereditary. The agents live on a two-dimensional lattice and each one inhabits a square. For simplicity, let's assume a model where agents have 5 cultural dimensions. Reality is obviously more complex, but that's not the point here. Here are 2 example agents. We define their similarity as the fraction of traits they both share. These 2 agents share 2 out of 5 traits, traits 3 and 4. So their similarity is 0.4. The similarities are visualized by the shade of the boundaries between the agents. Black boundaries mean that the similarity is 0. Higher similarities are depicted with increasingly lighter shades of gray, and a similarity of 1 is depicted with a white boundary. Time is measured in discretized time units, as is usual in agent-based models. So the question is now, what happens in one time unit? In each time unit, one agent is chosen at random. This agent in turn chooses one neighboring agent at random. We then calculate their similarity. With probability equals to this similarity, the acting agent adapts one of the traits of the other agent. If we take our 2 agents from before, agent A changes one of these 3 dimensions to the value of agent B with probability 0.4. And this is basically the theoretical view of the dissemination of culture that Axelrod puts forward in this model. Now let's see how this plays out after a considerable amount of iterations. At first, most agents are very dissimilar, but after some time we can see that regions emerge. If we let this model run long enough, this picture becomes more apparent and eventually the system converges to an equilibrium where no change occurs anymore. What we see is that in the end, there are regions of cultural similarity that are completely segregated from one another. Local convergence and global polarization.